Hey, Facebook Live, here we are, Rio Grande. We are on the no man's land side of the border wall right now. Rio Grande, that's Mexico right there where I'm pointing, on that side. Just what we are learning right now, we had a briefing from Border Patrol this morning.
Yes, first one they've had in years, it sounded like.
Yeah, with real people who have an opportunity to go back and influence policy. Really extraordinary who we are here with, NGOs, nonprofits, citizen advocacy groups like Grassroots Gold right here, and then some VIPs, experts on the border who are here kind of giving us the briefing, sharing with us what their experience has been here. Wow.
Yeah, and last night we heard from Senator Hinojosa, who's in this district as a huge champion.
State Senator Hinojosa.
State Senator, who's a big champion of the work that's going on and is on the Border Security Committee in the Senate.
Right.
So he was here. Representative Lujan is here, who's from the San Antonio area, but of course immigration and border security issue, it reaches all the way up, not just to San Antonio, but what did our presenter here actually this morning say? He said
about what?
Well,
I mean, he said so much. It's crazy.
We always talk about
Go ahead, say it.
We always talk about politics becoming personal. He said it's coming basically to a neighborhood near you, right? Where no matter where you live in the country. He really stressed this is a national security issue, and obviously Texas is ground zero right here.
And when you look around, when you look behind us, I mean, it looks beautiful and peaceful. And the other thing that he said was the head of the water district down here. He said something really interesting, and that is that 50 years ago, 40 years ago, 30 years ago, that Texans had homes, little casitas, little beach houses, river houses, river cabins. They would come down in all times of the year. They would come, they would swim, hang out. They would camp with their tents.
Swing from the trees into the water. I mean, you can imagine that.
Yeah.
You look at this and go, I want to do that.
You can't do that anymore because, and he also said that there are politicians that are going to tell you that McAllen is safe, and he said it is not safe. Do not, that is misinformation, that it is not safe here. There's a 1% of the 1.8 million people that crossed this border in 2021, 1% of those are hardened criminals. And his point to all 45 of us standing here was, are you going to take that chance that person who is approaching your vehicle or coming at you is just a person looking for asylum, or could that person, you have a 1% chance that individual is a hardened criminal with bad intentions.
Right.
Really a stark story.
It's fascinating. So I'm going to show across the river again, which is Mexico. And Tamara, who's in control of that land over there?
The cartels.
The cartels, and there's actually two major cartels over there that are warring, and we saw some pretty amazing video earlier this morning.
That's recent video from this year of literally 50 caliber machine gun attacks, cartel on cartel, literally 12 miles from where we are right now, inside Mexico.
Right, with basically military grade equipment, and it was
and armored vehicles, by the way.
Right, hours long firefight, and we saw the end of that with finally, some explosions. And as Tamara leaned over to me, he's like, "It's like watching a movie."
Right. It's like, are we in Hollywood? Is this Hollywood or is this real life?
But it's real life right across the border, and who knows when it could cross over here. So who's the big problem? Again, the water district president here, he made it pretty crystal clear where the real problem is.
Is the problem.
Not just that, but the federal government.
The federal
government is like, it's difficult to solve this situation, but they're making it worse.
Yeah. They're making it worse. And so he did mention also, contrary to what some people put out in media, that Governor Abbott is listening and he is trying to do everything in his power to provide the extra deterrence, the extra steps needed to slow down the human trafficking, to slow down the people over the border. And he also told us a story of a Border Patrol agent in a boat that came upon another boat filled with 5 members of the cartel, all armed with automatic weapons, and 200 migrants crossing the river. And the cartel basically told the Border Patrol boat driver, why don't you call the bus drivers and have them come down here and bring the buses so these migrants don't have to walk to the bus?
Right.
And he did, because he was threatened for his life.
And that's just a great example of what we learned here.
Yeah.
The cartel and what it means by them having control. You don't get across this border without them knowing about it and paying for that service in one way or another. Yeah. Everybody. There are no single families just coming across and, hey, let's go across the border today. That's not happening. You have to arrange that. That's on purpose. That's their strategy, because this, and it's a distraction strategy to occupy Border Patrol. Especially when you have the big groups that come across, they're occupying the Border Patrol so they can get the other folks across at the same time.
And so what we learned also that is not being talked about is the single male influx is off the charts numbers as they've never seen them before this year. The single male. Again, that is truth versus the misinformation that it's all just families coming across the border. That simply is not true.
Right. My arm is getting real tired.
Yes, okay. So we're going to wrap it up.
Yeah, there was one other big number I heard, and I leaned over to you again, when they anticipate, their calculation is 800,000 by the end of this fiscal year that they count across this entry point in the RGV.
Yep. And as Paul's talking, let's see if we can capture that Border Patrol
we got a helicopter
chopper right over us.
So by the way, we haven't seen any drones here. Both sides have drones. They have as much equipment.
We had drones first, and then the cartel started seeing that we had drones, and we were watching what was going on. So now they've spent money on drones, and they're watching the Border Patrol to know where they are and where they aren't to get across.
And we won't share all the stories, but they adjust just like you do in any type of war, and it's war.
And it's war.
In any type of war scenario, they adjust to what the other side's doing.
Yeah.
But 800,000 coming across this point this year, that's what they anticipate.
Yeah.
And I leaned over to Tamara and I said, that's the size of a congressional district. It really is when you think of how America is structured with 435 districts. So I know Texas we got 2 seats out of the last census, right? 2 new congressional districts. Imagine if you were getting 1 a year in the next census instead of 38 districts.
Right.
We had 48 districts.
Right.
Because that's how many people they expect to come across the border.
Numbers
this point. In the RGV. That's just in the RGV.
That's in the RGV. Yes, let's be specific. This is what we're talking about. These statistics are RGV only. And there's 9 other border sectors in Texas, or 9 total border sectors, I believe they said.
Yep.
And so we're drinking from a fire hose this morning, but we're going to, over the next few days and probably the next week, we're going to put together some of these stories. We're going to share them. We're going to hope to get maybe a few little interviews with some of our folks that we're traveling with here and post those. So that's it for now from the Rio Grande in McAllen.
Appreciate it. Happy Friday, April 8th from McAllen, Texas.
McAllen, Texas.